Dr. Shoots, he scores. All right, he's got the top suggestion for today's episode. So we're going to be doing a little bit of softball fun with a side of Mozambique and grappling hook. Thanks to everybody that congratulated me on my baby boy. I appreciated the kind words. So let me tell you a little bit about the softball. I just learned about it pretty much yesterday. But what I noticed was that it didn't have as much drop as I thought it would. The projectile actually goes pretty straight, at least up to medium distance. From there, you can start using its cursor there to help you adjust your shots. Check out this Deke. I know he thinks I'm going downwards right now. So at this point, I'm still leveling up the gun. I don't have the speed reload. I am falling back to my Mozambique quite a bit, but the truth is, especially when you're aiming at guys upwards, you're probably going to need to rely on a secondary. If not, you're going to have a tough time with this grenadier weapon. So I'm going to put away my grenades. I am going to try to put away my secondary and get more kills with this directly. In attrition, which is the main mode I think people play, it's actually pretty good because you can take out big mobs so you can earn your Titan quite quickly. If not, you can just kind of spam it around. There's a lot of walls on this level, so obviously levels make a big difference with weapons like this. It's kind of also the same for shotgun weapons. They have particular strengths in different levels, especially obviously the ones that let you maneuver as easy as this one. I can just run on the wall indefinitely as I reload this thing. I think like 1/7 of this video is me reloading, even after I get the quick perk. So I'm just going to keep my momentum. We are going to stick this guy, and now I have my Titan. This is first to drop, and then we're going to go into some Ronin play. I'm going to cut it short, though. I just want to give you guys a little taste of Ronin. If you guys are not using this Titan yet, it is definitely one of the best once you get used to it. The holes in my game were that I was not using that arc wave thing. So I started using that a lot more. I started getting really good with the timings, especially for executions. Watch this guy run on the right. I'm going to have to pre-shoot this because I know exactly where he's trying to go. Shoot a second round just in case, but you have to kind of start getting the timings to pilots. The better the pilot, the shorter obviously the time to travel for them, so you have to start making those adjustments. And I cannot put away my grappling hook. That is just an extension of me, and I get extremely greedy with it. I was hoping to have a charge to try to grapple him again, but I end up having to fall back onto my softball, and when I have the elevation advantage, things aren't that bad. The real problem comes when people are on level ground or people that are always mobile. Then it's a tough decision between trying to figure out are you going to try to shoot them? Are you going to wait for them to hit the ground and then shoot the ground? Are you going to try to jump and shoot the ground as you're doing everything all together? Like, there's just a lot of decision making that goes into it. This is actually a master weapon, I'd say. Since the drop on the projectile is actually not that bad, within medium range, it's actually feasible to say that somebody out there is good enough to stick you with this thing consistently. Otherwise, with decent aim, you're looking at about 2 shots. But again, that's saying that maps are going to play a big thing, because if there's a lot of walls or there's a lot of like inside places like this, like weapons like this can be really good. There's a lot of kind of like advantages that you can give yourselves if you really want to go with this gun. And the biggest one is actually picking a good secondary, because these grenadier weapons typically do splash damage and you can finish them with your pistol. And to do a little bit more attrition, we'll talk about taking on Titans, which is actually feasible, which is nice, because with this weapon, it does decent damage against Titans to help you build your own meter. And then you can carry your secondary, because it's pretty nice to have when you're trying to get multi-kills and you're trying to go into some areas that the softball just does not work in. This is probably one of my earliest clips, and I was working with the arc grenade, and I really like the arc grenade because you get 2 of them and it slows them down. That's why I ended up using the arc grenades a little bit more. If you're really trying to level up this gun, use the arc grenades, because then that's not going to kill them, for one, like unlike grenades, which I really like. It's going to slow them down enough that it makes it easy to shoot them with this thing. This is just one of those tricks that I learned. You barely waste a charge too. It's a beautiful thing. The grappling hook is so good. So this is the same thing. Once you hit them with one of these arc grenades, they're pretty much yours. And I was not a huge like lover of these things, but ever since I've started to use them more and started understanding them, because it really kills momentum. Even if you're like mid strafe jump, it'll just be like, you're just like trapped in it. And once you get used to that, you can use it really tricky, like up close and personal. The gravity star is also really fun, but I liked having 2 arc grenades a lot more, so that's why I ended up falling back on that. But there's also really neat things that you can do with the gravity star. Like, don't forget, it's not just the offensive benefits that it gives you, it's also those mobility tricks. And that mobility trick, honestly guys, if you guys use a gravity star, you guys need to start putting that into your play, because it lets you get around the map so fast. And I want to emphasize that I'm not godly at this game. I make a lot of mistakes, but I think what makes a difference is that I'm always willing to try new stuff. Like right now, I'm like, yep, I'm gonna get away. No, I am absolutely screwed at this point. But the difference is that I make note of it, and I'm not gonna make that same mistake twice. This map is actually particularly good for the softball. It has a lot of places where you can get nice and high. There's a lot of places to maneuver. There's a lot of accessible walls. So this is one of those high mobility maps for most players. It's the maps where things are more wide open that other players are going to start struggling if your mobility isn't down. So again, mobility is a big part with all these guns. But with this one in particular, I think it actually pairs up really nice for the grappling hook. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. I think it's a really easy way for you to get high on people. Uncooked grenade. Look at this guy. Like, that's just not gonna work.
Now that's what I call a dominating kill. 1-2. That's how you do it, pilot.
For some reason, every time I get a couple of kills while I'm using my grappling hook, I think it's going to give me more of a charge. I don't know why, but that's just the feeling that I get. The animation for this gun is actually pretty cool. It's not that you push it in, they actually open up and then you push it in. It's very futuristic because it's very fancy and it seemed unnecessary to me. They should just push in, right? Alright, so how does it do against Titan? Well, obviously I don't need too many hits on it. So I can use two ways to get my Titan with it. I can get direct damage with this, or I can also pair it up with, obviously, an anti-Titan gun. And what I like about when you do pair it up with an anti-Titan gun is that sometimes when you doom a guy and it's consistent damage, people get that cocky feeling when they're like, oh, I can wait a little bit longer. But if you switch up between the guns really fast, or even if you like have the foresight to first get them down with your primary, which is your softball, and then move in with your anti-Titan gun for a quick finish, that's going to catch them off balance. We all know what happened to that guy. That guy has a battery and I want it, so I have no problem getting out. And then I just put my Titan on patrol, or sometimes I'll make him stay. Usually I'm not too concerned about it. And this is phase shift. You know what, this level isn't even that bad. I actually enjoy it. If they just made it so they smoothed out some of the walls so wall running was more consistent, I think this level is great. It has a lot of neat tricks where you can go out of bounds in it. Caverns, you can do some really quick jumps by jumping between things. Like, this is a really good level. I think it gets trashed on for no good reason. I didn't even mean to say it like that either. And as I'm seeing the game footage, most of it is actually before I got the quick reload. And if you already have 8 bullets, it's actually not too bad once you get more accurate with the gun. Maybe you can substitute it for Tactikill. It's something you may want to consider. In regards to other tacticals, you know, whatever floats your boat, it's really a matter of either landing something directly or being able to get the splash damage off on another pilot. But this is the problem with phase shift. See that guy coming up from the top left? Yeah, if I stay there any longer, I'm gonna die. And that's how much time he was able to buy. And at this point, I can't really give chase because I'm gonna have to take a break to reload this thing. I like this level. There's a lot of things you can slingshot yourself off of. And the guy who initially shot me seems to have gone off to the left or disappeared, but I'm going to kill this guy instead by killing his momentum with the arc grenade. The last kill I get here is a guy who's actually been in this corner quite a bit, so I'm not surprised when I see him, and I'm kind of getting ready to aim at him as I come in. And that's the end of this episode. I think I came through on my end. This is definitely an interesting weapon. And come to think about it, I actually have no footage from Terminal. I don't even know if I got to play that map with this thing. Now I'm starting to think I forgot clips. But this video is long enough. I'm going to be calling it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I also want to say a lot of you guys actually had some really good suggestions that I'm going to be covering in future videos. Likes and comments, sharing the video, all those things are much appreciated. Thanks for checking out my channel. Future stuff, we're probably going to do some grappling hook stuff. I'm going to continue to shove that stuff down your throats because I just love it. I'm going to be doing more mobility stuff. Yeah, next video is definitely going to have to do something with mobility.